What's happening, everybody? JP McDaniel here once again with the latest installment from the NOS Performance Pro Tips.
Alicia made a name for himself when other Protoss players were getting slaughtered by the metagame, struggling in tournaments left and right. Going into the MLG Spring Championships, the big names of the tournaments were Dong Regu and Marine King Prime. But Alicia had other plans. He would go on to 2-0 the Terran King and find himself in the finals of the MLG Spring Championships, ultimately losing to DRG 1-3, but really the message was clear: Alicia is not to be forgotten about again. Today we'll be taking a look at a PvP where Alicia is up against Evil Genius's JYP. While not a traditional build for this matchup, this is a perfect example of how to scout and respond appropriately. Alicia is going to see his opponent going for an early second gas and will decide to go for a heavy pressure move. It is something you can keep in your back pocket for ladder play, and it can really catch your opponent off guard. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Drop your pylon at 9, your first gateway at 12. Gas should be added on at 14 supply and your second supply at 15 supply. Your cybernetics core should go down at 17 supply. At 17 supply, start your first zealot and keep building probe. But you're going to stop probe production soon. More on that in just a second. For now, let's talk about what Alicia sees in JYP's base. When he first goes in, he does not see a gateway at the ramp or near his nexus. This is your first big flashing sign that something is up. A couple seconds later, he sees 2 gas already being produced, so a proxy gate is out of the question, but now he's worried about tech, so he keeps scouting. He sees the gateway tucked in the corner and the cybernetics core being chrono boosted. But 2 gas means a lot, so as we watch the probe go back across the map, he makes a decision to send it back to create a proxy pylon. Back at home, a stalker has been started at 21 supply, as well as the warp gate research on the cybernetics core. When he makes the decision to create a proxy pylon, he throws down 3 gateways to prepare for an attack. This pylon is nestled up against the wall so that he can warp in units on the high ground once he gets sight. Chrono boost out your warp gate research so it gets done as soon as possible and go back to your army. Drop 2 pylons along the ridge and try to bulldog your way up the ramp. Chances are your opponent will have a force field, but only one, so don't be too worried. Just fall back, wait it out, and try again. Your main objective is to keep something alive long enough so that you can utilize your 4 gates to warp in on the high ground. Be careful with your first warp in, which should be 2 zealots and 2 stalkers. Try to focus on probes at all times. Killing these will ensure your opponent has a weaker economy, and then you can overwhelm him. You can see when JYP is forced to pull his probes, he knows it's over. The probe disparity was too large, and that earns Alicia the victory here. Three key tips to this build are: stop your probe production at 19 probes. You'll need the extra minerals, and if the attack fails, there is very little chance of actually recovering from it. Number 2, focus down probes as much as possible in your attack. They only take 2 zealot swipes to kill, and it's pretty vital if you want to overcome your opponent. Number 3, this build can only be executed if your opponent is quick teching. If you scout and don't see 2 gas or see an early second gate, be careful about committing to it. It is very hard to pull off in those conditions. For more NOS performance videos, go to MajorLeagueGaming.com/NOS.